In the heart of Denver, Colorado, a man named Michael Harris lived a life that many would consider ordinary, yet he radiated a sense of peace and contentment that caught people off guard. Michael wasn't a millionaire, nor was he chasing luxury cars or designer clothes. He worked as an IT technician, lived in a modest two-bedroom apartment, and spent his free time hiking the Rocky Mountains or enjoying coffee with friends. At 36 years old, Michael embodied something rare in today's world: genuine happiness. Meanwhile, in the same city, a woman named Jessica Turner lived a life that seemed glamorous on the surface. She was 34, held a high-paying corporate position, drove a brand-new luxury car, and had thousands of followers on Instagram. Yet, despite her achievements and polished image, Jessica often felt restless, anxious, and unfulfilled. She struggled to understand why the life she worked so hard to build felt so empty. The contrast between Michael and Jessica's lives highlights a truth many people hesitate to admit. More men today are finding peace and happiness by simplifying their lives, while many modern women feel trapped in cycles of stress and dissatisfaction. Michael's story began in his early 20s. Like many young men, he once believed that happiness came from wealth, recognition, and validation. After graduating from the University of Colorado, he worked long hours trying to climb the corporate ladder. But somewhere along the way, Michael realized that chasing status was draining him. He rarely saw his friends, his health declined, and he had little time for the things he truly enjoyed. At 27, he decided to step away from a competitive grind. Instead of pursuing promotions just for prestige, he sought balance. He moved to a smaller apartment, paid off his debts, and focused on experiences rather than possessions. Michael began hiking every weekend, joined a local men's group where they discussed life challenges, and volunteered at a community center teaching kids basic computer skills. Slowly, happiness became a daily reality, not a distant goal. Jessica's story, on the other hand, reflected the pressures many modern women face. Growing up in Dallas, Texas, she was raised to believe that success meant excelling academically, building a strong career, and living independently. She worked hard to achieve all of that. By her late 20s, Jessica had climbed the ranks of a well-known marketing firm and was earning a six-figure salary. Yet, the lifestyle that came with her success was exhausting. She was constantly traveling for work, attending events, and maintaining a perfect online image. Every decision seemed driven by how others would perceive her. Instead of feeling fulfilled, she felt overwhelmed and disconnected. Nights were often spent scrolling through social media, comparing her life to others, and wondering why happiness never came, no matter how high she climbed. The difference between Michael and Jessica was not about gender alone. It was about choices, values, and where happiness truly comes from. Michael discovered that contentment came from focusing on what he could control, appreciating small joys, and building meaningful connections. Jessica, like many modern professionals, found herself caught in a loop of external expectations, believing happiness was tied to achievements, appearances, and constant validation. As time passed, Michael's life grew richer in ways that couldn't be measured by money. At 32, he organized weekly hikes with co-workers and neighbors, creating a small but supportive community. He was known for being reliable, approachable, and grounded. Friends often came to him for advice, and his calm outlook inspired others. He found joy in simple routines, brewing coffee in the morning, reading books on his balcony, or fixing an old bicycle he used to ride around town. These little things, which many overlooked, became his treasures. Jessica's journey took a different turn. Despite her career success, she struggled with relationships. Many of her friendships felt superficial, often revolving around networking or shared professional goals rather than genuine connection. Romantic relationships were equally unsteady, as she often prioritized her career over building a family or partnership. By her early 30s, Jessica began questioning the very definition of happiness. She had the job, the car, the apartment, and the lifestyle that magazines often glorified, yet her heart remained heavy. She started therapy, searching for answers, and realized that much of her life had been shaped by chasing external validation. She lived to impress, rather than to feel content within herself. The stark contrast between Michael and Jessica illustrates why many men today report higher levels of happiness than modern women. It's not because men face fewer challenges. In fact, men also struggle with societal expectations, financial pressures, and loneliness. But many men have chosen to simplify, detach from constant competition, and redefine success on their own terms. They've embraced hobbies, brotherhood, fitness, spirituality, and financial independence. For women like Jessica, the burden often comes from societal messages that say they must have it all: a thriving career, flawless appearance, social popularity, and an active dating life. The weight of these expectations creates burnout and a sense of never being enough. Michael often reflected on his life during his mountain hikes. One crisp autumn morning, as golden leaves carpeted the trail, he thought about how peaceful his journey had become. He didn't own much, yet he felt wealthier than ever. His wealth wasn't in money, but in health, friendships, freedom, and gratitude. Meanwhile, Jessica, sitting in her high-rise apartment with city lights glowing outside, scrolled through social media feeds that only amplified her dissatisfaction. She saw peers posting wedding photos, others traveling the world, and some announcing promotions even greater than hers. Instead of celebrating her own accomplishments, she felt trapped in comparison. This pattern is one reason why studies in recent years show declining happiness among women compared to men. The pursuit of perfection, combined with the influence of social media, creates a constant cycle of stress. Men like Michael, however, have opted out of that game. They've chosen peace over prestige, meaning over materialism, and connection over competition. But Jessica's story doesn't end in despair. At 34, after years of chasing a vision of success that left her empty, she decided to make a change. Inspired by stories of people who found happiness through simplicity, she began reshaping her life. She reduced her workload, deleted social media apps from her phone, and started attending community events in her neighborhood. At first, it was uncomfortable. Living without the constant buzz of validation felt like silence after years of noise. But slowly, she rediscovered joys she had long ignored. She started gardening on her small balcony, cooking meals at home, and volunteering at a local shelter. Her life was still far from perfect, but for the first time in years, she felt real peace. The journey of Michael and Jessica shows that happiness isn't about gender, wealth, or status. It's about alignment with one's values and priorities. Men often find it easier to walk away from societal pressure, while women sometimes feel chained to expectations of having it all.